From Georgia's news leader, WSB-TV Atlanta. Coverage you can count on with Sandra Brookman, John Alston, David Shanley weather, and Stu Kleitenick sports. This is Channel 2 Action News at 6.
And thunder and everything. This is the worst blizzard I've been in.
I'm out of gas. I need to go to the bank, and I need food. Get my 2 grandchildren and bring them to my house where it's warm.
Atlanta's beautiful. The weather's typical of Chicago.
It's being called the worst winter storm in Georgia's history. Many people are saying that, calling it that, and they've lived here a long time. Governor Miller says we are in for the roughest night he's ever seen as the temperatures drop lower than you might believe after a day like today. I'm Sandra Brookman. Good evening.
And I'm Richard Boucher in for John Alston, who is on a special assignment right now with the governor downtown at one of the shelters that the governor has ordered open to try to accommodate some of Atlanta's homeless who are going to be facing a very, very serious night out tonight. There's perhaps 1,300 people who could fit into the Georgia Freight Depot downtown, but that is just a small slice of the problems that we are facing tonight.
We've got crews all across the state and around the metro area. We will begin first with Steve Gasquet, who is standing by live in Sandy Springs. Steve?
Well, folks, we realize that there are perhaps hundreds of thousands of people without power, and if that is the worst thing they have to deal with tonight, they should be rather lucky, because earlier today we chanced upon a terrible situation that happened to a family in Sandy Springs. A double-trunked pine tree came crashing down into the home of Kay and Bob Pierce. They live on Franklin Drive, which is right off Windsor Parkway. And those people were sitting at home, and all of a sudden this tree came down in 2 locations in their house. It blew out windows, it blew out the soffit around the house, it destroyed a lot of trim, and it opened up their house to the elements. But unbelievably, nobody was hurt.
We're perfectly all right. We had just come out of the bedroom. I had made the bed up and come down to answer the phone, and was talking to my married daughter, and she heard the noise through the phone and went back down there, and it was all the way through the window.
And the tree split, so it hit your house twice.
It has 2 trunks. It was a double trunk, and it just split open and just hit both ends of the house.
Well, folks, we want to tell you that if you are in the Roswell Road area, there is power here. Right now, there are convenience stores that have gasoline. There are convenience stores that have food to sell. And the stoplights are working, and it looks like the street lights are just about to come on, too. So this is one area where you can get the essentials if you need them. But again, that tree through the Pierce's home is only one of the many trees we saw down today, and many of them were down across roads. So again, that quick drive to the store could take a lot longer if you end up behind a tree that's in front of the road, in front of your car, and you might not be able to back up or go forward once you have to stop for that tree. So if there's any way that you can just cool it and stay at home, we would appreciate it. But, you know, folks, it's almost a philosophical, existential question here, because if people don't have power, they might not hear us giving this advice. Reporting live upon Roswell Road. Now, there's a gust of wind. Oh, folks, photographer Dwayne Harden just took a tumble. Dwayne, you okay?
Yeah.
Okay, folks, well, that's live TV for you. When the wind just gusted enough to knock him down, it might be enough to convince you to stay home, folks.
Well, Dwayne's an old running back. He's been knocked down a few times and survived.
They don't come any better than Dwayne, do they?
Thanks very much, guys. Well, we're going to now live again downtown this time to Jeff Dorr, who has been standing sort of between the Hyatt Regency and the Georgia Power, one of the Georgia Power buildings downtown, where their emergency headquarters is. Jeff.
I'm from Vermont. Hi, we are live out on Peachtree Street and getting a little bit caught by surprise because we're trying to get these guys out of here and not be waving in our shop. Yeah, but they're going to do it anyway. All right. Now we know why there are so many people from Chicago and up in the Midwest who moved to Atlanta to get away from weather like this. And I think from people like these guys, get out of my shot. They tell us that 1/4 to 1/3 of the people in Georgia are without electricity right now, perhaps 500,000 people. They have been salting, sanding, even scraping Peachtree Street today, and it is still a mess. They tell us that in Atlanta, the basic idea of how to get rid of snow is just wait till spring or warm weather. It'll be gone soon enough. But today, in a day of seeing the bizarre, get this. Here's a sight you thought you'd never see, a snowplow rumbling down Peachtree Street. People went outside to experience the storm of the century and found it was more severe than they'd imagined.
Well, that thunder and everything, this is the worst blizzard I've been in since I was in Kansas.
A car was stuck on just about every block, and strangers became good neighbors. Some Chicagoans came here for a convention when the weather was 75 degrees.
Atlanta's beautiful. The weather's typical of Chicago, though.
Atlanta's great, but the weather reeks.
People are already trying to repair the damage caused by gale force winds, and yuppie urban assault vehicles are out in force. Native Atlantans found the weather inconvenient, miserably cold, also a big thrill and some fun.
I think it's great. I wish it was Monday so we wouldn't have to go to work on Tuesday.
Atlantans accustomed to only shoveling red clay had to break out snow shovels. At the downtown Hyatt, some employees improvised a snowplow out of the lift gate on their truck. Worked pretty well. Georgia Power warned that some of those power lines the trees knocked down could still be hot. In snow, you wouldn't even have to touch the line itself to get electrocuted, so they warn everyone to watch out for lines in the snow.
We want everybody to be aware that there's potential danger, and if you see any down power lines whatsoever, make sure you just stay away from them.
Georgia Power says many people without power should expect it to stay out for 2 or 3 days, and some won't get it back for a week. Like I say, in a day of seeing the bizarre, an ice cream truck is driving by right now. Listen, if you have no power, if you may end up later this evening with no power, there are some tips for what you can do. Georgia Power gave us these ideas. Wear layered clothing, lots of layers of clothing, loose clothing if you can. Also, layer your blankets on top of you. Get everybody to stay in one room. If you have a room with a fireplace that works safely, use that one. Close the door to that room. Try to keep all the heat in there if you can. Keep on a hat, a cap, something like that. Even when you sleep at night, a surprising amount of heat will go out through your head if you don't wear one while you sleep. Get your pets indoors, snuggle up with them. They'll keep you warm, you'll keep them warm. And limit the times that you keep your refrigerator door open. You're letting your food thaw out if you open it up too much. And, of course, you're letting cold air that might still be in there into the room with you, and you don't want it. We're live in downtown Atlanta. I'm Jeff Dorr, Channel 2 Action News.
Yeah. All right, Jeff, we'll probably hear from you a little bit later. You know, we've been going in and out of the parking lots here at Action News all day. Most of our vehicles are four-wheel drive. It's not that easy, though, everywhere, even in the neighborhood right next to the station, the Ansley Park area. Our newest edition, the newest edition of the Action News staff, Steve Fillmore, spent the day in Ansley Park and has this report.
Most of us woke up worrying about getting out of the driveway. For John Camoli, there's no longer any driveway to get out of.
The tree over here has fallen, and the roots have pulled up the concrete in my driveway. As you can see here, I don't know how I'm going to get out.
The tree also snapped power lines here in the Ansley neighborhood.
In some cases, the high winds and the heavy snow aren't the only things causing the damage. This tree, for instance, probably toppled mostly because the roots are old and unhealthy and simply broke apart when the storm came along.
Tall evergreens with shallow roots, like this one, seem most vulnerable. Folks here in the Rock Spring Estates apartments hope to stay dry tonight.
Sounded like a gunshot, and then everyone kind of like just all set up in the apartment.
The building shook.
Yeah, the building definitely shook. Just came crashing down. We heard this boom.
As the snow slows, the winds keep picking up, and that may mean more trees are on the way down. Steve Filmer, Channel 2 Action News.
For the record, Steve just joined us from a station in Minneapolis, St. Paul. He brought it along, I'm afraid to report. Let's see, where are we going next? We've got
John Alston.
John Alston, forgive me. Well, John Alston is live downtown at the Georgia Freight Depot, where just a moment ago we spoke to Governor Miller, who has opened that state facility as a shelter for the homeless tonight. John, what do you see in there?
Well, Richard, the governor ordered it opened around noon today. The official capacity is 1,300. Right now, about 60 gentlemen have showed up, people who probably would have no other place to stay tonight, to stay warm. 60 people here at the Georgia Railroad Depot downtown near Underground Atlanta. With me is Dennis Wright, one of the people who will be staying here. Where would you be staying otherwise if you didn't have this place now?
I guess I would be at Greater Hospital at this time because, I don't have any, I was downtown, I got stuck, last night. So I guess I'll be there tonight.
What did you do today?
So I stayed at Greater all day today until the bus came say, we were going down to the underground, to stay for the night out the cold.
Would you ever be afraid of being stuck out there and having to survive a night outside? Would it ever come to that, do you think?
No. About 2 months, I have, no, I don't think so, not really.
Okay, Dennis Wright, thank you very much. Hang on for 1 second. I want to tell some people about some important thing. The governor was here today a short time ago and had some updated information on the state of emergency in Georgia, told of virtual horrific conditions on I-75 between Cartersville and Chattanooga. At one point, 1,000 people stuck, stranded along I-75, including 2 school buses full of children. One of the problems is officials can't get up in the air with helicopters to, number 1, assess the damage, and number 2, to bring generators and heaters and other things that people would need in the North Georgia mountains. And making the matter even worse is the neighbors in the Carolinas and Alabama and Tennessee are in the exact same boat that Georgia is in, so they can't even break away to help us. So that is the latest on the situation here with the governor. He is just leaving now, has spent the day on the phone trying to coordinate things as best he can. Reporting live from downtown Atlanta, I'm John Alston, Channel 2 Action News.
John, you have food, you have heat there?
No food yet. There is heat. People now waiting for blankets and cots and other accommodations to make the night a little bit easier to get through. People here also wondering if food is going to be coming, so they're just trying to hunker down for tonight.
All right, John, thank you for that update from downtown Atlanta. As John pointed out, this storm is not just affecting Georgia, it's affecting not only the neighboring states, but all the way up the East Coast and up northeast United States. It's also closed most of the major airports between here and Boston, including Atlanta's Hartsfield Airport. Our producer Susan Hooper is in the newsroom with some more information for us, and updated information about the situation in Hartsfield.
Thank you, Sandra. Right now you have thousands of people stranded at airports up and down the East Coast. Atlanta's Hartsfield Airport is no different. Officials there say essentially the airport is closed down, will remain closed until the morning. And they're not even saying when they're going to reopen it. They say that they'll reassess the situation at that time. The biggest problem is not necessarily the snow, but it's the extremely heavy crosswinds.
Passengers at Hartsfield settled in for the long wait.
Doesn't look good right now.
Many drove more than an hour and a half to get to Hartsfield, only to find the airport shut down. Others were just stopping over. Some groups didn't mind, however, like these school children who were headed from Honolulu to Huntsville to attend space camp.
They're excited. Many of them have not seen snow before, so they keep peeking out the doors and windows to get a glimpse of the snow.
For Georgians who were trying to get around on the roads, the snow was a little less exciting.
I'm out of gas, I need to go to the bank, and I need food.
For a Gwinnett man, it was downright frustrating.
I've tried chain, it don't even work. I didn't even get out of there. I had to dig.
What about a board?
A board? Hey.
Board help?
A board? I don't know. I need a shovel. If I had a shovel, yeah, I could dig some treads. This is what I've been using for shovel. Lance Cantor's famous homemade shovel. Digs treads well.
Bernie Crane bought tire chains 3 years ago for a Colorado skiing trip. He didn't need them there, and he didn't think he'd ever need them here.
They're rough. I couldn't get up the hill while we had to put them on.
Well, as you can see there elsewhere in our newscast, roads are extremely treacherous. It's hazardous driving. The Department of Transportation says as soon as the snow stops, they'll be able to get out there and get the roads clear. But until that time, they're just trying to keep up with it. MARTA is open. They say they're up and running and no problems. But once again, if you don't have to go out, don't.
All right,
Richard, Sandra?
Susan, thank you for that update. Interesting. I saw some folks that had been at the airport today. They took MARTA from the airport back to the station over at 10th Street. And they were walking with their baby trying to get, I guess, to a car or home this afternoon.
Hope they made it. Stay with us. In a moment, we'll be back with our continuous coverage of Stormwatch 93, including reports from our reporters in North Fulton County in northwest Georgia, and, of course, the forecast from the estimable Glenn Burns.
Our coverage continues here tonight with a look at another area. I think we're going to North Fulton. That's where our Michael Marsh has spent much of the day watching the snow blow there. Michael?
Flow, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good description. Just when we thought it was going to slack off, the wind picks up again and the snow starts blowing sideways. But you can actually see now You see the line of trees over there across Holcomb Bridge Road. We're at the intersection of Holcomb Bridge and Georgia 400. You can see the lights are on. There is electricity at this area here. There's a couple of gas stations open. There's a Waffle House open, too. A lot of people who didn't store up for the winter, as you may say, are walking over here from apartments and homes to the Waffle House, which is right next door, so they can get something to eat. Now, what's going to happen later on? There are a lot of people without power up here. There are trees down all over the place. They can't get out because the roads are impassable. They're looking at a very cold night. All day long, fire departments have been called because of trees falling on power lines. And in this subdivision in Roswell, trees were down everywhere, some still resting on the lines.
We called the power company several times. We couldn't get them, so finally I said, hey, let's call 911. Because that damn thing, you don't know whether it's going to follow the line or come toward the house. We got a baby in here, power's out.
His next-door neighbor braved the howling wind to replace his blown-off screens, which was the least of his worries. No heat for him means his pipes could freeze tonight, so he'll leave the water running and head out.
We're more worried about freezing than we are the pipes freezing, so that's all we can do is just go to a motel and try to take cover.
All the while, power crews were trying to make repairs.
Hey, yeah, open up.
And then waited to be sent to the next trouble spot. One of those spots is where the Andersons live.
No power.
Which means Shannon Anderson has to load a dishwasher that won't run. The dish is remnants of a social gathering they had last night. No light means no heat. Coats and blankets are going to be the rule of the day. The only source of warmth is a gas fireplace. But with temperatures falling into the teens, it'll be cold even indoors.
I guess if it doesn't last too many days, it won't be too bad.
3 or 4 o'clock in the morning when it's 12 degrees like they're talking about, it might get a little chilly in here.
That's very true. That's where the little dog here will have to snuggle right up to us.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea, doesn't it? Pile the blankets on, wear a cap on your head even when you go to bed. I want to show you something, too. If you're planning to get out tonight for some reason, don't do it. There's been some melt here where the cars have been going through the slush. That is going to turn to ice. It'll be glazed over tonight. They've had one plow I've seen in the last 4 hours going up Holcomb Bridge Road. So if you need to get out tonight, don't, unless it's an extreme emergency, of course. I mean, the temperatures are going to be, 12 degrees, the wind chill factor probably below 0. There's no need to get out unless you absolutely have to because of that ice. It'll be treacherous, very, very treacherous. We're live in Roswell. Michael Marsh, Channel 2 Action News.
Thank you, Michael. We want to go live now on the telephone to Sherry Nicholson, who is with the Red Cross here. Would that be the Metro Atlanta Red Cross, Ms. Nicholson?
Yes, that's right.
Some idea about what people should do if they are among the hundreds of thousands who are in cold households tonight? Some suggestions.
Right. A Red Cross and the Atlanta Fulton County Emergency Management Agency have gotten numerous calls from people wanting to know how to keep warm in their homes without power. We are suggesting many layers of warm, loosely fitting, layered clothing, lightweight wool, hats, gloves inside the home. Close off any unneeded rooms, stuff towels under cracks and doors and along windows that might have some air leaking in. Make sure your shades and curtains are closed, and also drink plenty of fluids. We also want to remind them if they're using an alternate heat source like a kerosene heater or a fireplace, make sure there's proper ventilation and use a lot of safety precautions for fire. If in case of an extreme emergency, they can call the Fulton County Emergency Community Management Agency at 730-5600. And if it's a life-threatening situation, they need to dial 911.
Tell us that number one more time for the Emergency Management Agency for Fulton County.
That is that phone number is 730-5600. We are recommending that even though it's extremely cold and when you don't have power in your house, people really should stay in. It's better than trying to venture out and just keep wrapped up.
Ms. Nicholson, the Red Cross responds in any number of disastrous situations. What role is your agency playing in this particular case?
At this point, we are very on top of what's going on, but our recommendation is for people to stay in their homes and try to keep as warm as possible rather than go out. The power source, if you move to another area, there's no guarantee that power can't go out. and they're almost better staying inside and keeping as warm as possible than venturing out.
Sherry Nicholson with the Metro Atlanta Red Cross. Thank you.
And we will continue our coverage this evening, so please stay with us.
It's still snowing out there. When's it going to end? Stay tuned to have the forecast coming right up.
We've just about made it through this first day. The big question now is how we're going to make it through the night. And here to help us out is the guy that predicted it all.
It's kind of dangerous, and sorry it came true, too. About 30 degrees below zero for wind chills overnight tonight. Dangerously cold. Let's just all stick together, help each other out, and we'll make it through this night. Let's go outside. We'll check out the current weather, and there's our tower cam, and boy, doesn't that look like Buffalo, New York? Whew. Yeah, lots of snow. All right, right now it's 27. Humidity is at 75%. Winds are northwest at 44 miles per hour. Wind chill 15 below zero right now. Barometer's 29.57, starting to rise a little bit. Boy, that's a good sign. High today, 38, low 26, and they average 21 degrees below normal. Now, the record high was 82. 19 was the record low. Our liquid precipitation total, 1 1/4 inches, which translates into a ratio of about 10 to 1 with snow. And let's take a look at our satellite picture and watch this major storm system. This thing ought to have a name. It's like a hurricane over land, moving right up the Atlantic seaboard. Tremendous snowfall amounts, 90-mile-per-hour winds around Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And now it's way up here on the Delmarva Peninsula and continuing to climb to the north with very, very heavy precipitation, from rain to freezing rain to sleet to all snow. About 3 hours ago, this is the way we looked across North Georgia, just a big blanket of snow covering the area. Right now, as that snow continues to lift to the northeast, all we're seeing is maybe light snow or flurries, which doesn't really show up a great deal on radar, but you can see them in and around North Georgia. But heavy, heavy snowfall amounts for much of the eastern Ohio Valley states on up toward New England. Cape Cod getting pounded right now by heavy snow. And speaking of that, about 20 to 30 inches from Blairsville to Hiawassee. Power's going to be out in Blairsville for several days there. About 10 to 15 inches of snow in a big swath down through the western sides of metro Atlanta, the northern suburbs. 12 to 18 inches of snow for northwestern Georgia, and about 3 to 9 for much of the rest of everybody else. In fact, tonight we have a blizzard warning in effect, 2 to 4 additional inches of snow in this area. Winds 45 to 50 miles per hour. Snow drifts 3 to 5 feet deep. Wind chills of at least 20 below zero, if not 30 below zero. All right, here's the weather map for tonight. The flurries and all the bad weather is going to roll off to the northeast during the day tomorrow, but frigid air will roll on in as well. Low temperatures by morning, unbelievably cold. And then by Monday, a little bit of a warm-up as the bitterly cold Arctic air starts to roll toward the east. Now, we're looking for daytime highs tomorrow, not very much warmer than they were today, basically upper 20s to low 30s in the heart of metro Atlanta. Forecast for tonight, lots going on. High wind advisory, wind chill advisory. We'll see snow and flurries continuing. Wind chills 20 to 30 below zero. Winds west-northwest at around 25 to 45. Actual lows 9 to 13 degrees. And then for tomorrow, morning flurries, then clearing. High 30 to 35. 5-day forecast now will go up to about 46 degrees after a low of 17 on Monday morning. And then showers will roll in on Tuesday and Wednesday. Should be sunny again by Thursday. And boy, 59 is going to feel really good.
Looks like summer to me.
I can't wait. Thanks very much. In a moment, we're going to go back live to the top of a snowed-in Fort Mountain in Murray County.
Well, if you feel snowed in, we've got a reporter that knows what it's like to be at the top of the world and not be able to go anywhere. Our Joyce Oscar is live in Murray County on Fort Mountain. Joyce?
Well, I sure do know what it's like to be snowed in. We've been here more than 24 hours now. If you had taken us about an hour ago here on Fort Mountain in Murray County, you would have actually seen the mountain behind me. Now the wind started whipping up again, starting out all over again. I think it might even be snowing again, so we can't see the mountain. We'll have more a little later and let you know how children are bearing here at the lodge without any heat. Reporting live from Fort Mountain, Joyce Oscar, Channel 2 Action News.
Joyce, thanks. In just a few moments, it's going to be ABC's World News Tonight until 7 o'clock, at which time we will bring you a 1-hour special edition of our coverage on Snow Watch 93.
And please join us at 11 for an expanded edition of the Action News Night Feed.
We'll be back at 6 in the morning, too, folks.
Right.
Good night.